right, I think we're all in. Welcome back, Emma Hayes, to our Zoom. We're talking to you from Orlando, Florida. As you all know, tomorrow, match day -1 is Thanksgiving, and thus we won't be going to the stadium. So this is serving as our match day -1 media. So if you have a question for Emma, please raise your hands, and as soon as she's done, we'll get Naomi Gurma and Rose Lavelle in front of the camera. So questions for Emma. Go ahead, Jim.
Sorry about it. Hey, Coach.
Hey.
I wanted to start out by the year's coming to an end. Is there sort of in a sense, a review for you? What did you see throughout this year? That there's some improvements that happened? Like, what's your sort of overall summary of the things that were accomplished in 2025 for this group, and either growth or certain players that came to mind for you?
Well, when it comes to an end of year review, we tend to do it like pretty regularly. Like every camp we come in and we review any of the developments, whether it be from a tactical perspective from the previous camp, whether it be celebration moments for our players, whether it be a reflection sort of at this point on the larger year. And for me, the milestones are a couple of things. I think the real development of the under-23 pathway, and it's linked to WNT. If I think about the Futures programme last January, and now I think of those number of players that are with WNT, I think without that, it might not have been the case. I think the number of debutants in the last year, giving players experiences at the highest level. And then I think just the variety of opponents we've played that has diversified our play and everything that comes with that. So I feel like 18 months on, really, since the Olympics, we were looking at some stuff earlier and in the way that we play in possession, and I said we wouldn't have been able to do that 18 months ago. Like, I can see so much progress in the way we're playing, and I think we're in a really healthy position.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
Thanks, Jim. Go ahead, Jonathan.
I think that was for me, or I know I couldn't hear you very well.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks. Emma, what do you think these games are going to be like? And we talk a lot about the players on your roster and so on, but Italy's going to test you guys quite a bit, it looks like. What do you think these games are going to be?
Well, that's the point. It was, we really pushed for this back in the spring for us to play this opponent. The 12th in the world. They have got fabulous results against Germany, Norway, Sweden, Japan, and I think it's the right test. I think the key for us is we have to play our game and know that no matter what the opponent throws at us, whether they change shapes in the game, whether it's they're very clever in the way they defend. Like, we have to stick to our task and play our game. I think that's the first message I'm giving to the team. The second is probably that we have to be patient. You've seen with their results this year, it won't be a team will break down easily. And it's not a team that give away a lot of chances inside the box. They defend the box really, really well. So we have to be clinical. And as I keep reminding the players, that is what the top level is about. Now, I use the example of Rose Lavelle at the weekend. Didn't get many chances, if any, in the game. And then when she gets her moment, she's decisive. And I think for our group of players, that's the message coming from me going into the game.
It's not so often these days that the U.S. plays a team that it hasn't played in a while. The She Believes Cup opponents, are not always the same, but usually pretty close to each other and so on. So to play it, for these players to play a team that they maybe haven't seen before, how much does that help too?
No, our players watch the major tournaments. They know who Italy are, and we've got players that also play in the Champions League that play against Juventus and Roma. So they're fully aware of the quality of their players. I think it's a team that's been building this level of performance for a while. They're very played into the way they do things, and I don't think it will be a surprise for us. But I keep reminding the players, this is a team I think is in the top echelon in world football. So we can't start our game like we did in the opening game last camp in terms of how that played out over 90 minutes. I want to ensure that we deliver on the performance that is needed against the top level side, and it's one that I'm looking forward to, because I know when you're playing teams that challenge you in a different way, it's always something to be excited about as a coach.
Thank you as always.
Thanks, JT.
Welcome.
Sylvia, go ahead.
Thank you, Aaron. I just have a few questions for you, Emma.
Yeah.
Circling back to the conversation around development and how that's been a pretty big success this season or this year for the U23s. Have you or did you all get a chance, either yourself or staff, to check in on either the ID camp that took place at Prairie View A&M and or the College Cup that's currently taking place in terms of players currently in the pipeline or potentially in the pipeline? And then my very fun question is, what are the plans for the team for tomorrow for the holiday?
Well, with regards to other competitions, like we have a really comprehensive scouting, tracking and monitoring process. So, yes, those games are being monitored and broken down, and usually shared in smaller format for me. So, with every competition that every potential player could be available for, our staff is across that. So I'm sure I will get a breakdown of that come the end of the camp, much like I will the under-23s and the under-20s in particular. I think for the plans tomorrow, last Thanksgiving we were in London. And to be fair, Tottenham Hotspur did a really good Thanksgiving meal, knowing it's in England. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. The players thought it was pretty good. So I think there's huge pressure for our chef tomorrow, because we can't have England produce a better Thanksgiving meal than the one that we're going to do in America. So I'm expecting something spectacular, but at the same time, just wholesome, because Thanksgiving is about being together and nurturing the most important things for us tomorrow, which is our environment and looking after each other. And I don't want them having too much turkey, because the tryptophan in turkey puts you to sleep. So I don't want them to eat too early, too much turkey too early. But ultimately, I want us to have a really good time. Rose has got this really crazy game she plays. She turns into this crazy conductor, where she plays this, I've got to get it right, crumble cookie of the week. And she plays a guessing game where you have to guess the crumble cookie of the week. And there's usually 5 or 6 of them. And she stands at the front and she goes, this and this. Yes, and you, and you, and you. And it's like an auction. It's absolutely bonkers. I'm sure Rose will provide some serious entertainment tomorrow for us all.
As
And
always.
just, sorry, a quick follow-up question. This might be an
Yeah, go
Aaron
ahead.
question. Will we be able to see either of the U23 games?
Right now, no. Not to my knowledge.
They'll be put on Huddle, though. I'll be able to get them. Like I said, they'll be broken down almost instantly once they're uploaded. And yeah, we will watch them. Sometimes we watch them in the periods in between, on the bus, maybe between Orlando and Fort Lauderdale. But we'll definitely watch them. We're very excited about it.
Yeah, Sylvia, clearly that's the other federations that are responsible for streaming those if they want to, and I don't think they are. Anyway, you can ask Emma next camp to give you a summary. Andrew Jones, go ahead.
Thanks, Aaron, and happy Thanksgiving to you and to you, Emma. And
Happy Thanksgiving.
Crumble Cookie Olympics goes well for you all. If Harry's involved in it, I don't know, but I hope it goes great tomorrow for you all.
It will.
With that. You were at that NWSL final. You got to meet the stud buds. You got the full environment there. Of course, you talk about Rose's goal. You talk about meeting the stud buds. The full environment there. And if you wish that they would have been able to have a Philadelphia neutral venue, considering they had to travel across country because, of course, it being a Plan final in San Jose. So just your thoughts on just the whole atmosphere.
You know what? I used to experience this. First of all, it was brilliant. I loved it. I didn't know stud buds were as stud buds because the Lynx are my favourite team. So, like, as far as I'm concerned, I was just watching two of my favourite players. But anyway, I enjoy the dopamine field effect that comes with not just a final, but in women's sport, and such a great atmosphere. I also know, having coached teams to a lot of finals, of course, it would be, great to play not too far from the two teams, but it never works like that because they've got to sell tickets. And those things have to be done in advance, and we have to appreciate that everything that goes into an event, that you would need more than 1 week to be able to do that and to do it well, which, the NWSL did a great job with. So I understand what you're saying, but also I know what it takes to promote these events.
And real quick, was that you that asked Naomi that when she was first down this morning for just team breakfast? Or was that
Yep, I saw her face coming across to get her morning breakfast, and the smile on her face from ear to ear. She was there so early, and I just had to capture a really nice moment because she's so excited to be here, and it's so great to have her back.
Thomas, go ahead.
Hi Emma, how are you?
Hey.
Just a quick question, it's not related to anything in particular for Italy, just in terms of as a whole. I just want to get your perspective. How difficult is it for you as a manager to try and balance the relationship you have with players? Obviously, trying to form a friendship and being someone that they feel comfortable opening up to, which is so important these days, is key. But also maintaining that figure of being somewhat their boss and maintaining that level of authority. How do you balance those two things?
Leadership requires many different skills to be able to do that. But as I've always said, I'm a female first and I'm a female manager second. And I bring humanity and humility to leadership that I think is important. But of course, there is the right moments to be able to speak with players on a personal level if they need that support. Sometimes not. Sometimes they want to, have sit down and do tactical work, for example. It's coaching, takes and involves so many different things, and most importantly, a support staff around a team to be able to provide different things, whether that be well-being support, whether that be mental performance support, whether it be medical support. So my job is to facilitate all of those things and moved adeptly between both of them, depending on what the needs are in that moment. But I think it's funny you asked that question, because I honestly don't think you would ask a male manager the same question. I think asking a female that question because is easier, because perhaps we are unafraid to show some of the joy and the happiness that comes with playing in a team, but don't mistake that for us not having an extremely competitive mindset. Everybody here wants to improve and also win.
Thank you, best of luck.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sophie. Go ahead.
Hi Emma, happy Thanksgiving.
Hey.
I love that answer, by the way, and I wanted to ask you a simple question, really, because women in football, women in sports are thankful for great leaders and strong women like you. Just wondered what you were thankful for this Thanksgiving.
You know what? It's a great question, and I appreciate you saying that, because one of the things I've probably learned over time is that I'm not a small man, and I'm not going to copy and paste anything. I think being authentically myself and feeling I can be the best female and the best woman for our players and our staff is probably the thing I'm most grateful for in a professional capacity. I actually sat yesterday with a guy I'd worked with for many years when I was in Chicago, a guy called T. Scott, who's a strength and conditioning coach down here at Lakeland High School. And what an incredible man he is. And we spoke last night about the things we're grateful for. And beyond those things that I've just mentioned, it is, of course, the most important things in life, which is health and family.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sophie. Let's go to Sandra, and then Jonathan has another one. We'll go back to him to finish it up. Go ahead, Sandra.
Hi, Emma.
Hey.
In terms of like a more reflective question, a chunk of us did get to speak with you a little bit at that NWSL Championship final, and you do have 7 players coming in to this camp right off of that big game, and I just wonder what some of the messaging is that you're giving to them as far as, you know, your plans for them, what you're looking for, and maybe specifically in regards to someone like you know, Jalen Howell, someone who hasn't, you know, been in call-ups recently and maybe has found herself on the outside looking in of the program. You know, what is your messaging to someone like her, a player who has to maybe get reintegrated with some of the principles that you're integrating to the team?
Well, I have a one-to-one with Jayden this afternoon, so I get the chance to sit down with her. But as I say to new players in here, like, I take a pretty much like a helicopter approach in the first interactions, because I'm actually just trying to get to know them on the field, what their tendencies are, where their strengths lie, you know, where their challenges are. And I think off the field, just to create a good environment where they can be themselves and know that, and players often say this when they first come in, it's such an overwhelm of information, but just not to, like, you know, you're not going to pick everything all at once, but just how do you eat an elephant sort of thing, you know, one chunk at a time. And that's what I will keep reminding a player like Jalen, because what you start to see is like players like Sam Coffey, even Claire Hutton, players who have been here for a while, they understand our way of playing so much clearer than a player who's coming in for the first time. So it's important for me to lean on other players to be able to say, can you support as best you can that person's integration into our environment? And it's honestly such a great people first place and culture that everybody tries to take care of those things, which I absolutely love about this space. I think with the other Gotham players, we just had to manage. You know, it was a thrilling game, a thrilling end to the game. There was a lot of adrenaline involved with that. So I have had to sort of manage the right workloads, but they're available for Friday, and I'll have no hesitation in selecting them. You know, playing a game last Saturday and Friday is completely doable for these players. And let me tell you, every single player wants to represent our country. So I'm going to have a difficult decision to make.
Thank you. And with these being the last games of the year, they're the last ones for evaluations. What are some of the things that you want to take away from this final window, whether it's on the pitch or even off the pitch? And what's maybe some of the messaging you're giving the players as well for them to kind of really soak up this last experience of the year?
The big message is that if we want to compete, switch on from the beginning. Like, we only have 3 sessions, so you have to maximise it. You have to maximise every single moment on the grass, maximise every single moment in the classroom and in your individual analysis, because everybody's learning has to be accelerated all of the time. Second of all, you have to switch between playing for club and playing for country. And it is different. And getting back into the ways of playing together does take a handful of sessions and sometimes even a portion of the game. But I think the level has been high in training, even though it's been pretty warm here, because that's the demands that the environment places on each of us. So I want us to show ourselves in a way that is much different to the opening game against Portugal. Like, I expect that they understand the importance of that switch from club to country quicker. And they've got to demonstrate that in the performance.
Thanks, Emma. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Sandra. We'll finish with Jonathan. Go ahead. JT.
Thanks, Aaron, for the opportunity to get one more in, and thanks as always, Emma, for the time. This has been an autumn season for U.S. soccer as a whole that's been very busy for the senior women, for the senior men, for the youth teams, for everybody. And we've heard along the way about the US way and sort of the bigger picture, as you see it, as Matt sees it, as Mauricio sees it. But that doesn't mean it's all the same for every team in the program. There's a lot of latitude within the two in terms of how you structure things, obviously tactics of how the two teams play and all that. And I just wonder what your perspective is on there being both the overarching picture and the latitude for the various teams to do things differently if they'd like to.
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, there's going to be a lot of synergy too. There isn't going to be, Maurizio's ideas on how to win football matches might be different to mine, for example. But we both have ambition to win football matches, and we both have an appreciation of that American players have their own unique set of qualities that we can lean into. I think from the WNT and YNT perspective, we're trying to join up as much as we can so that it's a seamless transition from youth national team to 23s and then to seniors. In order to do that, we're creating clarity with the game model at WNT and under 23. And for the under 20s, there might be some parts of that will be utilised there, but it will be a game model that's been developed for under 15 all the way up. But we work so closely together, myself, Tracy Kevins, to ensure that we don't just sit side by side, from top to bottom, we get that right. The role then with the federation is to ensure that we create the right pathways, like I've mentioned. We create world-class support, which is important to do that, and that's where the federation-wide support really, really matters. And importantly, create environments so that our players absolutely love playing in, and that's why for us building infrastructure like the National Training Centre absolutely matters. So yes, the US way is very clear and overarching, that sits above our WNT and MNT and all our other 27 teams. But within that, some of those differences are in and around the game model.
Excellent. Thanks, JT. Emma, thanks for your time. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.